Hi there. It's talking time. Good to see you all again. Loving you always. Unconditional love for all beings everywhere without one exception. The master key to the universe that allows all things and all things allow it. I'm here feeling what I can do to maybe transfer some information to you. Maybe help in some kind of a way. Some kind of a guidance. Some kind of a sharing of information. Some kind of sharing of experience that can really help lead us in a certain manner, shape, or form. So, I look at the world every day and I think to myself, what can I do to help people become free? What can I do to help them see? Uh, to show them, what the goal is here. Maybe help motivate in some kind of a manner to look at things that may be more important than the things that we think are extremely important. I mean, I see people connecting to this cause, this fight over here, this fight over there, all kinds of different things occurring. It's like, oh my goodness, anytime that we create a fight in the world, anytime we decide to be for and against something, we create duality. We create separation within ourselves. There's no separation ever occurring. Duality is pure illusion. There is no duality. We can perceive duality, yes. You can say that that is that and that this is this and that we are not distinguished in a certain manner, or that we are. That there's a separation between me and this object next to me and this air beside me and you, me and this screen and whoever it is that happens to be perceiving through it. There is no separation. This is a simultaneous interaction. This is an amazing, phenomenal thing occurring. I am you. You are me. We are one. How do we find this information in ourselves? People can tell us anything all the day long. You can tell me, oh, this is what's true, and that's what's true, and this is what's really going on with this situation. And if I have no knowledge of my own direct experience, then I have no choice sometimes but to maybe believe in what you said based off of the confidence you said it. Oh, well, that person seemed like they knew what they were talking about. I guess that now I believe them. It's an interesting thing to do that. People do this all the time. I wonder how much of everybody's information is actually this kind of information in the world today. I mean, how many times have you seen something online or heard something from some guru or some person of great, masterful certification and experience of some nature that they've spoken to you about, and then you believed, yeah, that's right, you know what, that was closely related to something that felt great in my heart channel. That was closely related to something that really, really resonates with me in some kind of a manner. It's like, okay, why does it resonate with you? Does it ring true in some way? Like, what is it? Are you sure? Like, what's your compass saying exactly about it? Is it saying that you want to look further into that? Maybe build a curiosity, and then when looking in that direction, kind of like releasing yourself into a new experience of your own that can open it up in a certain manner and really guide you into your own understanding by chance? I mean, we can't just take upon, or we can, but if we just take upon conceptual knowledge as our own personal knowledge, like what is it that we are actually grounding ourselves into? Are we grounding ourselves into some kind of an actual truth? Or are we grounding ourselves into some kind of informational experience? Like, okay, they told me the moon is round and shaped in a certain way. Well, I can look in the sky, and I've been taught what a circle is, and I know that it's definitely a circle. Now, I don't know that the moon is there in a spherical pattern. I don't know that it actually oscillates around the Earth in the manner in which it does. I don't know that the Earth is a sphere. I can tell that from my perceptual viewpoint that it appears that there's a globe-like fashion happening on the sky around me, and especially with the way the moon rises and falls and the sun rises and falls. That's really interesting. But actually, a really interesting thing as well is I actually, when thinking about art, it's cool to think about art. I can't really perceive that it's anything more than 2D. Whoa, wait a minute. how is that possible? Obviously, I can like reach in a certain direction. I can go over here or whatever it is. I can touch the screen. Look at that. I'm perceiving distance. I'm perceiving distance. I'm perceiving distance, but not really, not optically. I mean, really, what I'm seeing is an image going smaller and larger, smaller and larger. So if you had a picture of my hand, same size as my hand here, and then you took it away from my face, and you moved it towards my face. You took it away from my face, and you moved it towards my face. Then, I would have the perception that it was growing smaller and larger just in the same way in which my hand would if it was there. It would be the same size as my hand. If you were an amazing artist, then it would look exactly like my hand. I mean, there's artists that can paint a hole in the sidewalk, and you can believe that there's a million things under there. People might not want to step on it. Be like, oh my goodness, look at this amazing painting here, or this phenomenal hole. Oh my goodness, I don't want to step on that, I may fall in. But it's just a drawing. We can make a ridiculous amount of dimensionality happen out of drawings. So it's interesting, our perception and how much we believe of our perception. Science, I believe it said years ago that, we gain more information from our physical surroundings through our magnetic fields than we do actually from our five senses. It's interesting how much we trust these senses to tell us the information of our life, and we trust others to do the same. When this man says, hey, I know that this does this to your body. Oh yeah? Well, how do you know? What is it that you found this out about? Like, who told you this, and why did you believe them? Well, he had a name that sounded pretty legitimate, and he was on a website that looked pretty legitimate as well, and it said that I actually didn't check any references in any kind of manner, but it was very convincing. They said it in a very intelligent manner, in a way that I didn't understand, that's for sure, because I have no background in the in the course of study that person does, So what do? I just believe anything. I believe that this is good for me and that that's not good for me. I believe that this is that and that is that. Some people believe the earth is flat right now. Well, I mean, would you believe it too if you were taught that originally instead of thinking that it was a globe? It's interesting. Through history, I believe it was first thought to be a globe, and then it was thought to be flat, and then it was thought to be a globe again. And now it's, again, back to being flat. It's a really interesting thing. Now, people have said that they've left the atmosphere, and that they have seen the Earth, and that they know the Earth is a sphere. Now, there's a few people that have done this, We can believe that all those people are liars. We can believe that there's not really satellites up there that we have sent to the sky, and that we can't take pictures of the Earth. We can believe all of our information is false, that there's a giant conspiracy, and it's telling us that, this lie to conceal this information of our false reality. Some people believe there's a dome above the Earth, blocking us in. Now, we're unable to go. I've heard people say that there's a galactic highway going on, and maybe that's the case, Maybe all this stuff is illusion, just helping us to not be afraid of the galactic highway that's happening there, because, we're at a certain stage of our development where we're not welcomed into that kind of a group. Who knows for sure? There's a lot of different knowledges out there, and a lot of people are saying that theirs is the truth. Well, how do we find truth? What do we do to find truth? Do we locate it somewhere outside of ourselves? Well, a lot of truths will tell us that there is no outside of yourself, that there's nothing external to search for. This is something that I really enjoy to go with, to attach to in some kind of way, to believe it. This is a route that I followed in some way. I did believe that there is nothing outside of me to search for, that I actually existed inside of me. So, I guess really, if you look for something right over here, it's technically inside of you from that point of view. But you would have to know that for yourself. I like the Buddha. I think that he was a brilliant teacher because he did not say ever once to believe in his words. Do not believe what I say. Find out for yourself. It was a very wise and smart thing, I believe. You literally cannot know anything unless you have your own experience. Direct experience is the only way to know something. Now, who's to say what you know? Did you interpret your direct experience correctly? Is that something that was, for you, easy to do? Could you really come to those kinds of conclusions? Or what was it that you were filtering your understanding through? I remember having my very first understandings, and I remember that I had a lot of societal filtering that they had to go through. I was like the template of my learning. And so I had a lot of different fears and all kinds of different reality constructs come up all at the same time for me to try to sift through and work out. I was like, oh no, this must mean this because I had this experience. And then when I went back and I looked at the experiences and I took more of a scientific viewpoint on them, I was like, oh, well, actually, let's look at the facts of what happened. Let's remove the extra stories, the context from perception, and let's just see what happened, A, B, C, and D. Well, let's see. Okay, I was sitting in a room. I was looking at a candle. I looked at this candle for a long time. I blew out that candle. I saw a difference in the other 3 candles and the spheres of energy connecting them. I blew out the next candle. Saw 2 spheres of energy. Blew out the next one. I saw the next sphere of energy. It was amazing. The detail there was phenomenal. Now, what did I know of this detail? Well, when I came into this understanding, when I saw the vortex of energy connecting all the skies to the vortex of energy connecting all the earths, I did remember in the Bible where it said, the waters of the sky were separated from the waters of the earth. But that wasn't the biggest thing. It was the flame that was the biggest thing, because inside that flame I realized that was us. I was like, oh man, that right there. Now, how did I realize this? Did I know of this beforehand? Was there any way for me to have come up with this conclusion on my own? I mean, am I just terrifically magical in my imagination? Am I phenomenal in my ability to create perception? I mean, it's possible, I suppose. I don't really think that I'm that great at it, actually. I don't find myself to be very intelligent. I find myself to be knowledgeable in some way. I find myself to have a lot of different experiences. But, man, I mean, I guess my intuition is pretty good at this time. I do follow energy in such a way that I think allows me to kind of see where a channel's going. But I don't know if I was really at that point at that time. Really, it just came to an understanding where I realized that flame held all the spectrums of light. And within all those spectrums of light existed water, earth, air, everything. All of those things existed right there in that middle way, that center point, the flame, the tightest and fastest vibration, the center of a toroidal field then must be that flame. Unconditional love for all beings everywhere without one exception. The heart space. I would say that the jewel in the lotus is the flame that's in the heart. The jewel is enlightenment. The lotus is your heart. Om Mani Padme Hum. And a lot of different understandings to filter certain things through. It's interesting. I do love Buddhism, though. Tibetan Buddhism is such an egoless and beautiful wisdom. Wow, phenomenal. Can't even tell you. The Tao, woo, on point. Anyhow, so I had to go through all my different experiences and see what they really meant. I had the experience of realizing the beginning and the end. Now, what did that mean? Well, it could have meant this, it could have meant that, it could have meant that, it could have meant that. It could have meant I was the one and only, I was this or I was that, or whatever it was. But I really just had to look at the facts. Like, okay, I realized this, and I know that the center of this toroidal field, because of this realization and how it wrapped it up and how it showed me everything, is definitely a beginning and end point. It is expanding in both directions, constantly, infinitely. There is no beginning, there is no end. It is constantly creating beginning and ends, forever and always. Okay, so, now I know us all to be equal. I know us all to be the same. I know that point to be the heart space as well, the flame space, whichever space we wish to call it at this point. It's interesting, I've actually never seen the 2 teachings in one time. Though, it did seem symbolically that the flame was symbolizing that space, just in a bright and illuminated manner. Right after I blew out that last flame, all of a sudden, the room went dark, and I came to this immediate knowing out of nowhere. Just happened, just clicked. Like I remembered something, I immediately recognized where I was, I immediately knew this thing just came into me in a certain way, and I was like, I'm inside my own heart. I knew that I was in a chamber of my own heart. This was the greatest thing in the world. This sowed in the seed of perfection. I was like, oh, my heart has done everything to me. Everything in this world is literally my heart. This person, that person, this event, that event, it's all my heart. Oh my goodness, my heart has done all things to me and for me. Because I knew, for some reason, it was weird, I came from self-hate and self-doubt and all these really negative places of very, fear states, fear mentalities, really deep insecurities, and loving everything else but not myself. Apparently, though, I did love myself. You see, I was deflecting, I was dissociating, I wasn't really seeing clearly what everything was. So I didn't realize, in the mirror of consciousness what was occurring. And it reflects. That's what it does. If I love here, I love here. You see? Though, it could be more empowered if I would love here. That I can love here in a different manner. I was going through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. And that was perfection. That was the greatest blessing. Without those avenues of pain, fear, suffering, all this hardship that it seemed as if I was enduring mentally, physically, psychically, it was like, I would not have been in the place that I was to have the experiences that brought me out of that self-hate and put me into self-love. But I had to seek my own experience. I had to seek, with intention, experience, and I had to find pure experience. That was where I was really blessed. I was a doubter of myself in such a way that I didn't even truly believe in my own intention. I was like, man, I had become a bodhisattva, I had taken my refuge vows, I had understood the teachings of Jesus in such a way that I wanted to be like Jesus. I wanted to emulate the teacher. And I wanted to do all things in righteousness. Lead our people into salvation. Save. Become free. And so I sought all kinds of different teachings. And I was like, okay, from this teaching, from this teaching, from this teaching, from this teaching. I was a person that believed that within all the teachings of the world, there was the true teaching. That every part of mankind had changed and altered the teaching in some slight way. Every one of them. Even Buddhism, I thought this of. I'm unsure of that now. Buddhism is really amazing, I have to say. There's things that I would maybe not agree with, but there's also nothing that I wouldn't agree with as well. There's an ego that wants to call things right or wrong, that wants to say, hey, this could change. That's not seeing it quite as perfectly as I could be. Unconditional love for all beings everywhere without one exception. Loving them completely, wholly, truly, just as they are, without the need for them to ever change. Of course, through this route, compassion and wisdom united has moved me through the karmas of life to feel motivated to do the only thing that brings me happiness, and that's share these teachings. Share these experiences. What was given to me from my surrender. Pure intention. I set intention to write my intention that I would be of the highest benefit to all beings everywhere without one exception. And that if I was doing that for myself in any manner, to please write my path and write my intention. Make it a true and pure intention, please. Please, I always set intention that would override any possibility of ego. And that was beautiful. We have to seek our own experience. We have to find a way to empty the cup of our knowledge, all of it, just pour it on out, whatever it is. Be honest with ourselves, truly. What is it that we know? Do we really know something? Like, we hold on to this dogma, we hold on to this practice, we believe that this Hindu tradition or this Christian tradition, we believe in the things that we've been taught of it, we believe in the imagery we've been given of it, but do we know to hold on to those images? If those things are the truth, then surrender to not knowing what they look like any further. Surrender to what you are praying to in a certain way, and see. Put it to the test of experience, not just the test of your mind. Don't hold so tightly onto something that no other experience can ever come through looking in another way. You're like, well, hey, I've seen this and I've seen that, and I believe those to be truly projections of our own minds. I do believe that, hey, you had a really amazing, phenomenal experience. But when you had that experience, you had this understanding. And when you had this understanding, you filtered that experience through that understanding and came to you personified in a way that further empowered your prior belief. But you were unable to accept it in any other way. This would have caused you great fear and great misunderstanding because you were not open in a manner that would allow an expanded viewpoint to enter your reality. So we must find a way to do this. I've been talking to people recently and they're like, well, how would you help change the world? How would you help somebody guide somebody? I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, I just really flow with it in the moment. I channel it through and I just see what comes out. For each individual, it changes. You know, when we're mirror reflecting for one another, it's changing, always. This person's on this level of understanding, this person's on this level of understanding, this person's on this level of understanding. Now, if people can't hear what I'm saying, you know, if they're not receptive, I'm not really doing my hardest there to force anything into anybody, that's for sure. I mean, I can just give them love. Like, okay, I love you, I'll stand next to you, I'll listen to you. You know, I don't have to penetrate you with my information. I mean, I could do that. I mean, if you ask me a question, I'm going to be authentic, that's for sure. But I'm going to also, you know, say it in a manner that you can receive it, usually, unless you've been disrespectful in some kind of a way to that truth, to where I have to say it very directly in a way to honor it. And that's fine. You know, I'm not attacking in any kind of a way. I love everybody entirely. And that's another big deal. You know, we can release that attack and defense of one another, and it's another time to really look at ourselves honestly, the information that we're taking in honestly, and really looking at like what it is we believe and why we believe it. What is going on? I'm not here to attack your beliefs or try to stop you from holding on to that root that keeps you safe and comfortable inside of this illusory reality. But I am trying my very best to show you that, hey, there's a way that you can go into prayer, you can go into meditation, you can go into ceremony, and you can set intention that will release you from your attachments, release you from your knowings that you don't know. I'm not saying release anything you do know, but you could do that, because if you do know it for sure, and if you do know it for true, then it will always be there. If it is a truth, there's no way it can be moved. You know, there's one universal law, that being impermanence, that most people can agree upon. Everything will change. Though truth, funny thing in its definition, is the only thing that doesn't change. So, truth will not change. It is the only immovable object in a sea of ever-changing moving things. So, you can just rest and know that if it's true, it cannot go away from you. It will not die, it will not perish, it cannot be destroyed. You can let that go. Just to be sure, have it take the test, be brave. I let go of unconditional love for all beings everywhere without one exception, and it came back first. That was the very first thing to come back to me. I gotta tell you, after I did that, I was a little shaken, I was a little nervous. I was like, whoa, have I lost my root? Have I lost my grounding? Have I lost the foundation of my knowing? Oh, this is the thing that gave me confidence in my life, you know, after all this life of torment and pain, living in fear always, I finally had this great confidence, this amazing motivation, and I just released it and let it go from me. I emptied my cup. I trusted. And it come back. It always comes back. And again and again and again I would do it. Again and again and again, to make sure, to be true to myself and make sure that I'm not misleading me. I mean, goodness, Lord knows I've been mistaken a million times before, and who knows if I'll be mistaken a million times after. So I'm always watching and making sure that I am positive that I'm not doing that to myself, that I'm not fooling me. And it's a good thing to do. So, what can we do? Empty the cups of our knowing. Go into ceremony. Go into life. Really see how all these things we're fighting for that we don't even know anything about are not extremely helpful to us. It's like, oh my goodness. You know, there's a bigger battle occurring. There's something that can free us a lot more quickly than working through years and years and lifetimes of human birth. I'm not saying humans bad. I'm saying humans are the most amazing thing in the world, and that we are extremely limiting ourselves by believing and going by the rules and the laws fed to us by society, by these people that did not have knowing, by these people that lacked an understanding. That they have given us an improper picture, and it seems that even though we hit extremely expansive points in our experience, we still wish to use the old model to change the world, when we are completely able to bring in a new frequency, a new understanding, and really live in an amazing way with one another. So I'm hoping that we will set true intention, pure intention, to find what is true in ourselves, find our